Interesting analysis, particularly given the source. Danny Savalos is a legal analyst for MSNBC, but he offered a pretty cut and dry and, in my view, accurate assessment of what the Trump administration has at its disposal when it comes to expedited deportations of people in this country illegally under the color of law.
Federal law allows for even broader and speedy removal than has been used in the past. And expedited removal, as you talked about, allows for summary removal. That means no entitlement even to a hearing, possibly within 24 hours. It hasn't been used as broadly as, say, the Trump administration might want to use it. But under the statute, it is permissible to remove aliens who arrive at the border and even those who have been here for 2 years, although that 2-year provision you talked about is the lesser used in practice. But just because it isn't used very often doesn't mean it's not a part of federal law that can be used. And it will be used because it's permitted under federal law. The Congress, in its infinite wisdom, decided that aliens who arrive at the border, and they define people who arrive at the border as people who have even been here 2 years, if they have fraudulent documents, if they don't have sufficient documents, they can be removed in an expedited fashion unless they seek asylum. So you don't run into those due process concerns, at least presumably because that statute, as it exists today, is still valid. Now, that's not what's at stake with the Venezuelans and the Alien Enemies Act. But the government's argument is that, hey, court, listen, you're telling us we need to provide notice. Well, take a look at this federal law. It says that we don't even need to have a hearing. It can happen within 24 hours. So if that's good enough for people who arrive here who are aliens, it's certainly okay for people that the president has deemed to be alien enemies.
Indeed. That's a good argument that they make. But in addition to that, just what he said, unless they apply for asylum is an important caveat. However, as we've talked about with Richard Epstein, as we talked about the comments that Alan Dershowitz has made, there's no reason under federal law that the asylum application has to be adjudicated while somebody who is otherwise here illegally is in the country. That can be done in a safe third country. That can be done via Zoom. Seems to me that's the way it should be done. For more on this, we're pleased to be joined by Congresswoman Mary Miller. She's from Illinois' 15th, Southern Illinois. Mary, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you. It's a great day. President Trump is working to fulfill his campaign promises, and we're not going to let JB Pritzker and Brandon Johnson get in the way. He received a clear mandate from the American people. They want immigration law enforced, and they want these people that are here illegally deported.
And so just in terms of the strategy the administration is employing and conversations you may have had with immigration officials, what about what you've heard from some legal analysts like this? Move them out under federal statute, expedited removal like Obama used, like Bill Clinton used. And to the extent that there are hearings because they've made an asylum application, well, those hearings can be adjudicated while they're on soil other than American.
Well, Pritzker is actively obstructing the enforcement of federal immigration laws. It's a direct violation of the Constitution's Supremacy Clause. The federal law takes precedence over state law. He is, trying to hinder them from coming in. And state and local governments have no right to shield illegal immigrants from federal law enforcement.
Yes, but I mean, just separating Illinois for a second and looking at this globally. I mean, any conversations with the Trump administration about, pivoting on the posture they're taking to affect the objective they have stated, which is to, starting with public safety threats, move them out as expeditiously as possible. Maybe there are other tools that should be employed right now as you fight these cases in court, or the administration does.
Well, The problem is that Pritzker has made it clear that he is not going to follow President Trump's orders and cooperate with ICE, which is criminal behavior. That's what we're dealing with right now, and that's why the Department of Justice is entering into this. And they have, in February, the DOJ sued the city of Chicago, Cook County, and the state of Illinois over sanctuary laws. And then just recently, on May 1st, the DOJ filed a complaint against Illinois for encroaching on federal immigration authority.
And so in response to what Illinois has done and Pritzker is doing in real time, and we were just discussing he's going to appear before the House Oversight Committee just like Brandon Johnson did. You have issued a call for law enforcement to ignore the state's sanctuary law statute and work with ICE and the administration to help remove people in this country illegally residing in Illinois.
Yes, because first of all, the sheriffs are elected to represent the people. The people want these illegal residents to leave. And they have two choices. They're either going to follow JB Pritzker's illegal mandates or whatever, his laws, or they're going to follow the federal government who has the constitutional authority to regulate immigration and deport these criminals. These policies are dreadful for the citizens of Illinois and Chicago.
Have you talked to or spoken with any sheriffs in any departments in the 102 counties in Illinois that are willing to go along with this and follow Trump instead of Pritzker?
I have not, but I believe that they will support President Trump and not Pritzker. I have a good relationship with them. I've been very busy out here, but I've been watching my phone, and nobody has contacted me. And I believe that if they were upset over my call to ignore Pritzker's sanctuary policies, they would have reached out to me.
I'm not sure that they're upset, but I mean, we talk about it in the context of Chicago quite a bit too, and Chicago police officers, rank and file, have to be very careful about anything that would appear to be cooperating with ICE at the city level, for example, because they could get fired over it. And I would think sheriff personnel may have some similar concerns, although if your boss, the elected sheriff, is backing the play, then maybe not. It certainly would result in litigation with the state. I mean, Kwame Raoul would swoop in, I have no doubt. And so then there's the expense of litigating those things with sheriff's departments that don't have the same resources, some as others. So, I mean, there's all these complications. But I suppose whether sheriffs decide to openly flout what is currently Illinois law or not, the point is to focus people's attention and get this conversation going to remind people just exactly what kind of regime we live under and what those laws have engendered, just like we talk about with the Safety Act.
Yes, well, the point is that the federal law is the supreme law of the land, and I feel bad. I feel terrible for the Chicago police. First of all, JB Pritzker, even before this, and Mayor Johnson, they have a history of preferring the criminal over the victim, and now they're preferring the illegal over citizens, and they do not support law enforcement like they should. They don't support law and order, and now they are not supporting the immigration laws. And obviously, I represent downstate, which is a different situation than in Chicago, but they are going to choose. They're going to have consequences one way or the other. They might be afraid of Raoul, but they should be more afraid of President Trump and the Department of Justice, because they're coming in and they're going to get these people. President Trump is a strong leader, and he is going to deport these people. This is bad for our country, and I don't know what it is going to take for the people that live in Chicago that keep voting for these Democrats that are ruining their life. They don't support excellent education, economic opportunity, and now, for example, they don't support safety and security of the citizens of Chicago.
Yeah, I don't know what it's going to take either. That's an open question. Congressman Mary Miller from Illinois' 15th downstate, as she mentioned. Congressman Miller, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
Well, you're welcome.
have a good day. And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM 560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
The following advertisement includes a celebrity impersonation.
The summer heat in Chicagoland is no joke. And if your old air conditioner is making funny noises, you may already know it's time for a new unit.
Look, your air conditioner, it's a disaster. People are telling me it's the worst ever.
Don't sweat it, literally. When it comes to cooling your home, Air Right Heating and Cooling does it the best.
And they love our country. Beautiful people.
Rebates are still available. Financing is flexible. And at